Here's Martha Zoller on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Always here, always local.
This is where, I get really frustrated when I see these. They didn't consider anything. Of course they, it was insulting to me to watch Chuck Schumer say, over this weekend, he said, the president's planners are as naive as a college student. Those planners, by the way, are military officers that plan every scenario out for every scenario. Like, you wouldn't believe the war plan. There's a con op for every country, including Canada, Mexico. Like, what happens if? That's what the military does. It was insulting what Chuck Schumer said. He owes the military an apology for that. That's number one. Number two, every plan, no matter if it's a business plan or a war plan, is as good as the variables that you can account for. And this is the fundamental problem, is that in any war scenario, any military incursion, and that goes true with even getting Maduro, they plan for certain stuff. What happens if this happens? You can only have so many contingencies. And that's why the answer they gave the president was, here's what we can probably tell you, but here are the X factors.
And it is the Martha Zoller Show, and we are now in the second week, I believe the second week of this war with Iran. And I do want to just say to Democrats, and I know that they're not going to listen, and especially Chuck Schumer, be careful of the language you use. Because regardless of who the president is, the military is the same. I heard somebody trying to say how great Lloyd Austin was and how terrible Pete Hegseth was. Okay, Lloyd Austin was a general. He served his entire life in the military. I have great respect for him. But he also disappeared for 2 weeks, did not tell his higher-ups that he was having prostate cancer surgery, which is a pretty big deal. And, he worked for multiple presidents. And do you think he was a better general for presidents that he agreed with or not agreed with? No, he's a professional. Pete Hegseth has been in the military, or was in the military for 20 years. He served in the military. He has done a number of things for veterans since then. And yes, his final job was that he was a presenter for Fox News. But that's not what most of his career was. And do you think he's going to do a better job for one person than the other? No, he's not. This idea that somehow the people are great when they worked for your president, Chuck Schumer, and terrible when they work for Trump, they're going to give their best advice no matter who they are working for. Now, it's up to the commander-in-chief to take the advice. And that's where you might have some differences in how people do things, but it's an approach. Now, I thought it was very interesting. Logan, you might find this as interesting. In this press conference that the president did yesterday, which, Mr. President, it was too long. You were saying things you shouldn't have said. You need to keep things short and tight when we're at war, okay? But Peter Doocy asked this question because he made a couple of references, the president did, to talking to a former president about getting some advice or whatever, seeing what he thinks about things. And he said, did you talk to George W. Bush? And the president said no. So who does that leave? That leaves Bill Clinton or Barack Obama, I think, as far as living previous presidents. Joe Biden, he's not going to talk to Joe Biden.
Right, those are the ones I can immediately think of.
So of those that are still alive, that's George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden. You know who I think it was?
Who's that?
I think Bill Clinton.
Because
so? I think they've had a relationship for years. They've gotten along. He didn't actually call Trump supporters a basket of deplorables. It was his wife that did that.
Right, Hillary, yes.
But I think that Bill Clinton and Donald Trump probably get along pretty well because Clinton was the last kind of reasonable Democrat. And I don't mean that to criticize Chuck Schumer or whatever. Chuck Schumer used to be a reasonable Democrat. But Bill Clinton was the last one that showed how to work with people because he lost power, gained power during his presidency, and he knows how to work with people. And he knows how to accept defeat. Like, for example, with welfare reform, when he lost the House, he knew he was going to have to work with Newt Gingrich. This is what we got to get back to. Okay, we got to get back to, if you are working with somebody and you are an elected official of the United States government, your job, if you're a congressman, a senator, the president, maybe an appointed official too, like you're a cabinet member, your job is to do the best for the American people, not to just do what you agree with me about. And I think that he didn't talk. If he says he didn't talk to George W. Bush, the only presidents that are left are Democratic presidents that are still alive. So that means he got some advice from a Democratic president. And I don't think it would have been Barack Obama, although they supposedly have exchanged friendly letters before they go out and say bad things about each other. But it will be interesting to see. You can join us on the phones at 770-535-2911. We're going to be talking to candidates. Caleb and I are getting together to kind of lay that out to see how people can talk to candidates and see what's going on. My good friend Leah Aldridge, who has this group that's called Women Lead Right, and she does fantastic events, and she does these events for every candidate. She's done one for Burt Jones. She's done one for Chris Carr. But on March the 24th from 5 to 6:30, they're going to do a cocktails and conversation with Rick Jackson. It is going to be, I'm trying to see where it's going to be. I think you need to go and... Oh, yeah, it's going to be at someone's home, Henry and Ann Sewell in Atlanta. But if you want to know more about this, go to the website for Women Lead Right, and it's womenleadright.com, and join the group. It's worthwhile. It's a great group of conservative women. Yes, they're mostly in Atlanta, but we won't hold that against them. And then you might be able to go to this event. I'm not going to go, I'll tell you, unless somebody volunteers to drive me, because I'm still in a place where I don't really want to drive a lot by myself, and not because I've had any more problems with my heart. In fact, since, knock on Formica, since the Sunday after the event, as I like to call it, I have not had any more of that chest pain. I had a couple of what I call aftershocks, one on Friday night after I had the heart attack on Thursday, and one on Sunday morning, but I'm still not 100% comfortable driving all over God's green earth by myself.
And I don't
Does that sound crazy?
No, I don't feel comfortable driving in Atlanta the way I am right now. I don't think anyone does. I don't think anyone willingly is like, oh, let's go to Atlanta today. And
it used to be so great. You know, and I know it's a sign of age when you start talking about the good old days, but when Lynn and I first moved up here, it was in the early days of 985, okay? And, you know, I know you don't remember this time either, Logan, but Georgia 400 used to be a racetrack.
Really?
Okay, when Lynn and I were just getting out of college, Georgia 400 is the only road, I will say, that was built before it was needed. Okay, so it was built and it was wide open spaces for about 30 years. And then, so I'll admit it, Lynn and I would be driving up Georgia 400 because it was before 985, the beginning of Georgia 400. We were going really fast. Okay, I'll admit that. You know, we had this great Mustang. It was all good. We were fine. But 985 used to be like that. When we first moved up here in the 90s, you could get to Atlanta in an hour. No problem. I mean, occasionally, it might take you a few minutes longer than that. But now, I just plan for an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not surprising for it to take 2 hours. If I'm going to a school board meeting, and those I go to in the daytime, so that's okay. I count on 2 hours to get there.
And it also so it depends on when you leave, because normally, of course, you're going to hit that rush hour traffic in Atlanta anyways, regardless of what highway you're on. But, I mean, even so now, I mean, you know, you come around 4 or 5 o'clock in, you know, Flowery Branch or going to Buford on 985 there. And
it's a parking lot.
Yeah, you're in standstill as well. And have
you noticed all the people coming back to Gainesville?
Yes, I have.
You know, because it's that north traffic that they're coming back. And 985 is a parking lot more often than I would like to admit it. Look, traffic is great, but I would tell you, ladies that listen to me, look into Women Lead Right. I'm a member of it. I don't go to as many events as I should, but it should be a lot of fun to do that. I may actually look at this and see if I can get there Now that the time's changed and it's dark later, it's light later and all that kind of stuff, it's good. But anyway, you can join us on the phones at 770-535-2911. We got a text message that came in, and it said, Martha, take into account the success and superiority of our weapons system. The radar systems of China and weapons were on display in Venezuela and Iran, and guess what? They failed. These most recent military operations will send a message to other world superpowers. America is for real. That's Don. And you know what? You're right about that. Because everybody was saying, oh, yeah, China's got these hypersonic things, and I don't know if we've got it. Let me tell you something. I now have 2 members of my family working in the defense contractor area, and obviously they don't tell me anything they're not allowed to tell me, and I don't get anything from them that is not open source information. But we've got systems we haven't released either. Okay, let's just put it that way. So we were using, in this particular hit, a bunch of old bombs with old fighter jets. Okay, so we were getting rid of this old stuff that we had that we were going to, we use some of the new bombs too. But folks, we've got 2 or 3 or 4 different weapon systems that we haven't even brought out yet. And that's what they said about China, these hypersonic missiles. Well, we were able to intercept all of them. So I think we're going to be fine. I really believe this is going to be a 4 to 8 week kind of proposition. But to say that he didn't understand what was going to happen in the Strait of Hormuz is really a disrespect to our military, as well as that, of course, they knew they were going to go after the Straits of Hormuz. They just didn't understand that they were going to be as successful at it as they were. So we'll look at how the stocks are doing, because it looks like the world market is adjusting. We'll be back.
When you need news anytime, day or night, get it from the source that's been delivering local news digitally for a quarter of a century. Go with AccessWDUN.com and the Access WDUN app, powered by North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
Some car dealers want to sell you a car. At Hardy Chevrolet, we'd rather help you find the vehicle that's right for you. This is Mike Cormier. We call it the Hardy Chevrolet difference. Since you're the one who will be in the driver's seat of that new Chevy, we think you should be in the driver's seat when it comes to making the selection. It's like Charles Hardy always said,
we love you and we need you.
Together, let's drive. At Hardy Chevrolet, Browns Bridge Road in Gainesville, online at hardychevrolet.com.
You wouldn't want someone you couldn't trust working on your family's HVAC and plumbing, so why would you call anyone but Gainesville Mechanical? They're your local, most trusted and award-winning HVAC and plumbing company in North Georgia. From maintenance appointments and clogged drains to plumbing emergencies and new system installations, their team is ready to serve you. And with their customer assurance maintenance plan, you can receive discounts, priority scheduling, and 24/7 no overtime rates. Gainesville Mechanical and Bryant, doing whatever it takes since 1989.
It can be difficult when you hear multiple experts give totally opposite opinions on how you should handle your estate planning and elder needs. What's the real answer? This is Kevin Tharp, and I've had to face these issues head on with my own family, and I've made it my life's work. I'm not telling you to just listen to me. I'm just asking for the chance to be a part of your conversation. Log on to KevinTharpwithane.com. Let me help you make the hard decisions the right way.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. After my husband died, the last thing I wanted to think about was money. Ethos made it affordable to get life insurance. Signing up was fast and 100% online. I knew that I could pay our mortgage and have food in the fridge. I could focus on my kids. No one ever tells you how much you're going to depend on that policy. I am so grateful we had coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. That's ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, 2 people in Baldwin are hurt from an outdoor incident while a fire destroys their home Sunday morning. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Fred, I love you, man. I love you. You're the most incredible dad. You're my best friend, and I want to have 20,000 more babies with you. I do. I do. And Isla, my little girl who is 8 months, who has absolutely no idea what's going on and is probably dreaming of milk. But this is kind of a big deal. And I love you, and I love being your mom, and I can't wait to discover life beside you. Chloe and Maggie, to get to know this incandescent woman and journey to understand the capacity of a mother's love is the greatest collision of my life. It's Mother's Day in the UK today. So I would like to dedicate this to the beautiful chaos of a mother's heart.
So this is the Best Actress winner. She played William Shakespeare's wife in the movie Hamnet, which, Logan, I totally stumbled across this movie. I mean, like I was scrolling around. I didn't go see it in the theater, okay? But I was scrolling around looking. I'm trying to still learn my streaming stuff. And an ad for it popped up that it was available on Peacock now. Okay. So I clicked on it, and I watched the movie, and it was fantastic. And it was, I mean, I love all that British stuff anyway. So they had me at the fact it was William Shakespeare, a young story about William Shakespeare. But what was interesting, and the reason why I picked that, is that yes, there were the crazy people at the Oscars that said free Palestine. But there was also a Best Actress winner like that talked about how great it was to be married and how great it was to have children. You had Nicole Kidman talking about how she had started her day by going to church. You had the Best Actor winner, Michael B. Jordan, is that who it was, thanking God for that. So you had a more traditional message from a lot of the A-listers. Yeah, like I said, a lot of the winners had, I would say for the most part, I didn't hear a whole lot of controversial takes. You really had to dig for it. Compared to kind of years past where I feel like it was more prevalent for those winner speeches. Even Barbra Streisand, who did the tribute to Robert Redford, who Barbra Streisand has been very politically active in her career. She's done fundraisers for lots of Democrats. And Robert Redford was politically active, but in a quieter way. You know, the Sundance Festival, the buying the land in Utah for conservation. He was definitely politically active, but it wasn't like he had a sign in a street talking about things. He did it with action. Right. It was more so behind the scenes, like you said. Behind the scenes. And I kind of like that. But what I thought was great about that was that even she didn't go there. She did talk a little bit about how their movie, The Way We Were, was about the blacklisting in Hollywood, which is a true thing. And it's called McCarthyism, folks, but actually it was done by the House Committee on Un-American Activities, which are members of the House of Representatives, not senators. McCarthy was a senator. He just gets blamed for it because he died young, if you want to know the truth. He was an alcoholic and he died young, and so it was easy to blame him because he couldn't defend himself. It was really a lot of other people. But it was interesting, but she sang terribly, and Barbra Streisand doesn't like to sing in person. She's got terrible stage fright. She always has, but she didn't sound good. And I'm glad she sang for him, but it's kind of like a jump the shark moment. Like I said, it's a touching thing, and I feel like it's more so, like I said, the performance might not have been, A+. No, but it was very touching. Like I said, the emotions were there, and that's kind of all that matters at that point, is that you can kind of, disguise the singing performance as opposed to this is just a touching tribute to, someone who obviously she and a lot of other people in Hollywood cared for. Well, and then Jane Fonda complains because she had done 4 movies with Robert Redford and she didn't get to say anything. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
I understand, but also there's only so much runtime you can have. You can't have everyone up there because we'd still be there if that was the case. If everyone wanted to get their say in for whatever it may be, we'd still be having the show right now.
Yeah, it felt like it was still going to be there, right? It felt like it was going to go on forever.
A lot of those, and that's the thing with a lot of the award shows that, they'll have the red carpet premiere at like 2:00 in the afternoon. The show doesn't even start till like 7. Then it's over at 11. And then, of course, they have the after party coverage where they go with all the winners, interview them.
For them, it's early.
Right,
so
because in
they
California.
start at 7, it's like 4 in the afternoon. So they're getting all dressed up like that at like 2 and then going on the red carpet and then partying afterwards. So
I did see that Michael B. Jordan, who, like you said, won Best Male Actor, he went to In-N-Out Burger out in California. He didn't go to a fancy,
and
steak
did he
restaurant.
Buy hamburgers for everybody?
He did. There's
I thought that was good.
Swarms of people obviously there just enjoying their dinner.
I know he's been around a while, but where would I know him from?
Oh, he's been in a ton of films. If you ever heard of the Creed movies that came out,
oh yeah,
he was a main actor in that a couple of years ago that I thought he did really well in.
Yeah, so I don't go to the theaters that often anymore. I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know that theaters actually have recovered from COVID yet, but I do like to watch movies out there, and I think it'll be a lot of fun to see that. You can join us on the phones at 770-535-2911. We'd love for you to talk with us about your thoughts, not only about the Oscars, but about everything that's going on. But let me just say this before we get out of here for this segment. I know everybody wants to wring their hands and say this is the worst time we've ever had in the world. And maybe for some people it is. But all in all, the world is a pretty difficult place all the time. That's why we need God. That's why we need people that we understand. And I think there are a lot of things that we need to get our head around and really get up in the morning, count your blessings the first thing that you do. Make sure that you understand the gifts that God has given you, and then try to fix the world. We'll be back.
Welcome back, people. I'm here with the one and only lottery-winning, pink-haired, 80-year-old rap sensation who just won $1 million every year for the rest of her life. And Edith.
Hi, darling. I'm just living out my dreams.
And dropping a new single.
I'll be a millionaire as long as pink's in my hair. Millionaire for what? Millionaire for life.
Your fans are gonna love that.
With $1 million every year, my bank account loves it too.
Get your chance to win $1 million every year for the rest of your life. Play the Millionaire for Life game, only from the Georgia Lottery. Please play responsibly. Always check and sign your ticket.
Got a scratcher that didn't win? Well, now you can play it once again. That's right. All non-winning scratchers at any price point can be entered to win the Rolling Jackpot. Visit GALottery.com for details and to enter the Rolling Jackpot. Another way to win from the Georgia Lottery.
Tune in to WSB Channel 2 for your official Georgia Lottery drawing and check out the Players Club at GALottery.com.
Matt Hayes here from Hayes Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac in Baldwin. Check out the new savings event here at Hayes. 2026 Chevy Trax for only $24,990. 2025 Chevy Suburbans for $11,000 off MSRP. Or best of all, a 2026 Chevy Silverado 1500, $10,000 off MSRP, including trades assistance rebate. Ask about our free lifetime powertrain warranty and come check out these deals and more at Hayes Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac in Baldwin.
Get breaking news fast. Sign up at accesswdun.com for breaking news alerts via text. Log on to accesswdun.com for details and to sign up. You can also sign up to receive local weather and sports alerts. Get the news first with breaking news text alerts from Access WDUN and North Georgia's News Talk. WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 9:30.
Fox News, I'm Therese Crowley.
Tuning up for New York City's St. Patrick's Day parade and the White House visit with Ireland's Prime Minister, bringing the traditional bowl of shamrocks and hopes for world peace. As Israel's military takes out the two top Iran hardliners responsible for killing thousands of protesters.
Ali Larijani, a top Iranian official, is dead. According to Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, Larijani was seen as the de facto leader of Iran in the aftermath of those opening strikes in Operation Epic Fury.
Fox's Trey Yank says Israel's military confirms the top besieged commander and 12 of its leaders were killed in another strike. Rising oil prices fueling inflation concerns at the Fed meeting. President Trump's Save America Act gets its first test vote in the Senate today to show citizenship and voter ID needs just a simple majority. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow, and firefighters responded to a house blaze Sunday morning that destroyed a home and led two people being injured from a separate accident at the scene. WDUN's Hamilton Keener explains.
Units from Banks County Fire and Emergency Services were dispatched at around 8 a.m. on Sunday to a reported structure fire at a residence on Otis Brown Road in Baldwin. When crews arrived, they found a single-family home with heavy fire involvement. During the incident, firefighters also discovered two people who had been struck by a vehicle in the driveway. Officials said the victims, an adult female and an 8-year-old girl, were attempting to move vehicles away from the home when a family member accidentally hit them. Both victims were treated at the scene and taken to Northeast Georgia Medical Center in stable condition.
The city of Clarksville officials searching for the next city manager following the recent retirement of Keith Dickerson. WDUN's Logan Landers with details.
Clarksville City Clerk and Interim Manager Julie Poole has issued a release noting that candidates for city manager need 5 years of prior experience in city management and a bachelor's degree with a master's degree in public administration highly desired. The position is responsible for Clarksville's daily operations with direct oversight to all departments.
A link to the email for the applications and more details found at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN weather forecast.
Lots of sun, but it's not doing much to those numbers. Highs only in the mid-40s later this afternoon. As we get into the overnight hours, it's going to be really cold again. Scattered frost possible, upper 20s to near 30 degrees. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Sugar Hill, freezing point 32 degrees. Incoming 28 degrees, and in Gainesville 30. From North Georgia's News Talk AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Attention, Antifa, human traffickers, cartels, and woke DAs. With Chris Carr as governor, you won't stand a chance.
I'm Chris Carr. In Georgia, we will prosecute you. It's easy for politicians to talk tough, but I'm the only Republican who put gangs, human traffickers, and Antifa behind bars. I even fought Obama, Biden, and Abrams in court and won. If you're attacking our police or our freedoms, I'll be your worst nightmare.
Chris Carr doesn't just talk tough. Carr had the courage, brought the cases, and locked up the criminals. He has more than 120 gang convictions. Over 200 human trafficking victims have been rescued and seized enough fentanyl to kill 3.5 million Georgians. Carr's taking on the woke left, making crime illegal again. As governor, Chris Carr will keep up the fight and never back down. Chris Carr, governor. Real fights, real wins, real conservative. Paid for by Carr for Georgia.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Look, this is a horrifying reality that has come to fruition on a bunch of very irresponsible decisions to shut down the Department of Homeland Security. I cannot think of a worse time than to be in a hot war with a country that is notorious for proxy wars and terrorist attacks to defund a place like DHS. Obviously, synagogues across this country are extremely vulnerable, but that's not it. I mean, it's basically every municipality in this country that has had to take a closer look at their own law enforcement because the DHS situation is so much in flux. This was unthinkable 20 years ago that anybody would even consider shutting down the Department of Homeland Security at a time of war. But that's where we're at, and a bunch of really irresponsible decisions by Senate Democrats.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. That's Josh Holmes from the Ruthless Podcast talking about really just how ridiculous this is, that you've got the Department of Homeland Security shut down for a reason that is stupid and moot, and they got outmaneuvered. Okay, let's just tell you the truth. Democrats got outmaneuvered because they agreed to funding for ICE and border security until 2028 in the last government shutdown. But now they've decided in order to go back on what they already agreed to, you got outmaneuvered, folks. You don't get to remake the rules, so they've decided to dig their heels in and not do the funding for the rest of Homeland Security. And now we've got however many terrorist attacks we've had in the last 2 weeks that may or may not have to do with cells being activated in our country from Iran, but we don't know that because the Department of Homeland Security is shut down. And we're creating situations where, again, they didn't care you were going to Christmas and you weren't going to be able to get to your, or you were going to Thanksgiving. Now they don't care that you're going on spring break. And they just want you to be in trouble because you know what? Here's the truth about them. The people that are flying in to be in the Congress, and yes, they had a few problems because of the weather. They can do something that Logan and I can't do. They can book themselves, like if you're coming from Atlanta, if you're John Ossoff coming from Atlanta, he can book himself on 5 different flights going to Washington, D.C., so that he isn't inconvenienced. That's one of the benefits that members of Congress get. But you and I can't do that. You and I, if we miss that flight because the lines are 5 hours long, we've got to go to a person, rebook it. We've got to get on an app, rebook it. These people are living in a dream world, and if you don't vote I'm almost to the point where I think every single incumbent needs to be voted out. I don't care if I like them or not. Because I'm really getting tired of rules for thee and not for me. I mean, I would love to be able to, if I'm going to Washington, D.C. or New York City where I know they do flights about every hour, I would love to be able to book on 5 different flights, and that way I'd never be late. It's crazy. We've got to get to the point where we are talking to our legislators. Yesterday, I know a number of you tried to call Senator Ossoff at 470-788-7800. That's 786. Make sure I get this right. 470-788-7800. That's 470-788-7800. Call him and ask him which flight he booked himself up to Washington. And I bet it was 4 or 5 different flights that you booked him on. So he didn't have to be bothered. And I bet he gets a special line because I know they have a special place to park at the airport. They get a special line. So they're not living like you are going to the airport. Folks, I got a lot of friends out there that I know are Democrats. You need to call and demand they vote to open up DHS. The least of our problems are what ICE is doing. Okay, some video got released today. It was from 4 weeks ago where ICE was going to arrest a child rapist in Minnesota. And these whistle women came along and warned the person that he was about to be arrested, and he got away. And Fox News got that on video. And the ICE agent said, please, please, please don't release this video now because we still need to get this guy. He's a child rapist. If you will let us please get this guy into custody, then you can release the video. So they now have gotten the guy into custody, the child rapist that the people who were protesters in Minnesota were protecting. And now they've released this video of these women interfering in an action. That's not what we want. We want ICE to be able to do their job. Now, I was not in favor of bringing Border Patrol up because they do a whole different kind of thing, and I think that was wrong, and I think that's why Kristi Noem was fired. Now, she's still in the administration, which I kind of think if you get fired, you ought to get fired and not be given another job. But she was fired from the job as the head of Homeland Security, and she should have been, because she was bringing the untrained people are not ICE. The untrained people were the Border Patrol trying to do operations in cities. So that's been taken care of. They shouldn't be upset about it. And Democrats, we need 4 or 5 of you to vote with the Republicans to get the funding back up for the Department of Homeland Security. Because if something bad happens, it's going to be your fault. It's going to be your fault. And, that's just what we have to do. You can join us on the phones at 770-535-2911. Tomorrow, we're going to start talking to some local candidates and some things that are going on. But I'd love to know, which are the races you're looking at the most? I can tell you the most interest I'm getting is from people who want to know more about Rick Jackson on the governor's race. Every day, I am getting phone calls, messages, emails from people that want to know more about him. If I were advising him, here's what I would tell all these candidates. Burt Jones needs to get a better set of consultants, because all they're doing is looking like they don't have an agenda, and that all they care about is Rick Jackson. If I worked for Chris Carr for a year, I do still think he is the best choice. But Chris Carr is actually doing what he needs to do right now, which is work on the law enforcement side of what he is doing and separate himself from Burt Jones and Rick Jackson. And then Rick Jackson is this guy that I've known for 15 years. I think he would be a great governor. And he came from nowhere. And he's not going to be beholden to anybody. My dad used to say that only rich people should run for office because then they don't owe anybody anything. Maybe that's true. I do think there's some value in having to raise money. But there also is a lot of value in a guy like Rick Jackson who says, I'm not going to raise any money. I'm just going to spend the money I need to spend, and then we're going to change things from the inside out. And all you got to do is look at his businesses to know that he can do this. All you got to do is look at his businesses to know that he can do this. And I think that's what's really important in what we deal with. We'll take a break.
It's knowledge you won't find anywhere else.
If you walk out of your home on a July day and you can see your breath, you probably didn't brush.
It's Mornings on Main Street with Bill Main. Weekdays on North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
Spring is knocking, and that lawn is not going to cut itself. Get ready to mow smarter with Exmark mowers from Howard Brothers. With Exmark, you get durability, precision, and performance you can count on season after season. And at Howard Brothers, they've got the expert advice, trusted service, and equipment that works as hard as you do. Stop by Howard Brothers today or visit howardbrothers.com and power your spring with an Exmark mower.
You already know Gainesville Mechanical for their award-winning HVAC service, but did you know they handle plumbing too? Because plumbing problems never happen at a good time, you need a trusted, experienced team there when they do. From small leaks to major repairs, Gainesville Mechanical is here for you with 24/7 no overtime rates through their customer assurance maintenance plan. Proud to be named Best of Hall for HVAC and plumbing, Gainesville Mechanical and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep North Georgia cool since 1989.
What if I need to go into a nursing home? Will I lose my home? This is Kevin Tharp, elder law and estate planning attorney, and I'm here to give you some good news. The short answer is no. You will not lose your home if you need to transition to a nursing home. But there's steps that you need to take. I've made it my mission in life to help folks in your situation. But you need to make the first call. Visit my website at kevintharp.com and learn how to get help planning for the rest of your life.
I'm Rick Jackson. My dad abandoned us. My mom was an alcoholic, so I left the projects. Shoe shining, ticket scalping, vacuum sales. I found purpose in work and built a $3 billion business. Like President Trump, I don't owe anybody anything. And like you, I'm sick of career politicians. I'm running for governor to lead America in criminal deportations, to cut income taxes in half, freeze our insane property taxes, reform the system so that anyone who can work will work, and not just sit around binge watching Netflix and eating Cheetos. I'll let law enforcement do their job. And if you're caught helping a child change their sex, you're going to jail. I'm Rick Jackson, and I'll get these done. Paid for by Jackson for Governor, Inc.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, a Buford man previously convicted for identity theft is now facing new charges involving alleged sex trafficking. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
We just saw this week at the UN Security Council 135 nations. Jake, it was a UN record. 135 nations side with the Gulf Arab countries and condemn the GCC, with the Gulf Arab countries, the GCC countries, and condemn Iran for its atrocious attacks on civilian infrastructure, ports, airports, hotels, resorts. And as I pointed out at the Security Council, I don't see how the regime argues that those are military targets. They are clearly not, and they are clearly deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure. And I got to tell you, this shoot in all directions strategy that Iran has taken on is backfiring. They've never been more diplomatically isolated.
So that was the ambassador to the United Nations saying that most all the countries in the United Nations took the side with the Arab states that said, hey, we don't want our infrastructure hit with this. Now, maybe Iran is just confused because they do actually put civilian infrastructure on top of all their military sites. So maybe they're just so confused because they mix the civilians together with the military that they got confused about it. So we'll see what happens with this. I, am very concerned about, just how long this will go on. That's my biggest concern, because I think that President Trump knows that he cannot drag this on, but we don't want to just leave to have it pop up again in a couple of years. If we leave, we want to make sure it's over. Tomorrow, we are going to be talking to, actually, I talked to him this morning, an Israeli general, and we're going to be playing the interview tomorrow about what their concerns are. And, he told an interesting story about how his son that is in the IDF, his son's family at their home, they do not have a bomb shelter. Most all homes in Israel have bomb shelters. This particular one does not. And so his daughter-in-law and his grandchild are kind of moving from one parent's house to the other where they have bomb shelters so that they can be safe while they're attacking cities. He's in the northern part, and so they're not getting attacked as much as they are in Tel Aviv. And I was in Tel Aviv in November, and twice I was there during that period of time. And it is a beautiful city that's thriving. And we need to make sure that people understand the real history of what is happening and the real thing that is happening in this area. And it's going to mean that we're going to have to commit to this for a little while longer. But I really don't think this will be a long event, because what we've seen is that the munitions they're using are not having as much impact as they were. And their leadership continues. 2 more of their leadership were killed today. So their leadership continues to be killed. And at some point in time, the people of Iran are going to say enough is enough, and they're going to come out and they're going to stand up against the folks that are continuing with this violence. Iran, as well as most of the radical Islamic countries, have a problem to where their leadership really does not represent the people that they're supposedly representing. That the people are very different. In fact, it's had the kind of opposite effect that instead of making the people of Iran more religious, it's made them less religious. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow, too. You can join us on the phones at 770-535-2911. We've got a lot of things that we're going to be talking about. There's a lot of things that we're going to be talking about related to these issues of the day. But we also don't want to forget about what's going on under the Gold Dome. We're in our final days of the legislature, and that'll be going through the end of the first week of April. You know, they always like to be done by the Masters. So they'll get through that. And they just, you know, I still think they ought to just go in 1 year and pass a budget and be done with it. But they're not going to do that. I don't know exactly what's going to ultimately happen. It looks like gaming, even though it didn't make it through crossover day, they are trying to get it into something before we get done. I just think it's election year, and they're going to try to get out as quickly as possible. Let's go to the phones now and talk to Sam in Commerce. Hey, Sam, how you doing?
Yeah. I'm doing good, Mark. I know a lot of people don't understand what Trump done, but we're definitely safer. They just don't know what Iran was capable of. I mean, you kind of got to see what, you know, I think they backed that little stunt when they went into Israel. They parachuted or parasailed anyway. You know, that had a lot to do with Iran, but we're definitely safer today thanks to Trump. I don't care what nobody says on that issue. But my other two issues I wanted to holler about is the property tax and insurance on the people who own houses now. I think that's driving a lot of people away from buying houses. I bought my house 6 years ago, and my property taxes was $800. Now it's $1,800, and in 6 years it went up that high. My insurance was $700. Now it's $2,200. Within 6 years it went up that high. And my last point, Martha, do you still, or I don't know if you heard about Australia, they banned the cell phones in schools, or people under 18 wouldn't have access to internet.
Yes.
That's another point I want to bring up. I think that should be here in the United States. Teenagers could have a phone to call and text, but they don't need it till they're 18 because, you know, the internet's full of stuff that, you know, it's just adults only, basically. And I think at 18 they ought to be able to access the internet if they want it, but under 18, I mean, my kids, they're on it. I'm guilty, but I think that's what.
Well, you know, in Georgia, they have banned the use of cell phones in schools through middle school, and this year they're going to do a bill to ban them in high school too. And you know what? If I were Apple and I was as smart as the people at Apple were, go back to a phone that just is a phone. You know, without the internet on it. You know, make it look cool so the kids will want it, but where you can talk and text and that's it. And I think we ought to get back to that.
Well, I mean, you know, like, you can't drink till you're over 21. You can't smoke till you're over 20. And the internet is just about as bad as anything is. And, you know, under 18, a lot of people's going to disagree with this. But, I mean, after 18, you know, like you say, if you want to do something, be responsible as an adult, that's fine. But this internet is a big influencer. It's hurting education on young people. There's no question about it. That's my 3 comments. And I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you beating this cancer thing. I've got a lot of people out there. I don't know why this cancer stuff's so high. It just baffles me. Good people get it, bad people get it, but God bless you, Martha.
Well, thank you very much. And actually, I had a heart attack. I didn't have cancer, but I appreciate very much you talking with me about that, Sam. Thank you so much for your call today. But, you know, my husband had cancer 10 years ago, so it touches everybody, the things that are out there. And I'm just thankful for the great medical care that I got. And it'll be Thursday, will be 6 weeks, I guess. 6 weeks? Yeah, I think so. 6 weeks on Thursday. Man, time flies when you're having fun, right? You can join us on the phones at 770-535-2911. I got to tell you, though, I got a message from someone who wanted to know, while I'm sitting here, wanted to know more about Rick Jackson. I cannot tell you how many people have contacted me and continue to contact me. Now, I like to think I'm a good interviewer, okay? And I like to think that I'm going to get good response from an interview that I do. But I can tell you that the interview we did with Rick Jackson, I did not... I am still getting response to that. I'm still getting people stopping me and asking me about it. And what I find really interesting is that it is people that aren't that involved in politics. At this time, when we're a couple of months from the primary, you still kind of think that the people you're going to hear the most from are the people that do, that are already involved in politics. Okay, they're already involved in politics, so they'll be the people you hear from. The people I'm hearing from regarding Rick Jackson are people that, yes, they vote every time. They're not necessarily involved in politics, but they're asking me, and it's a lot of women. And I had someone that was supporting Lieutenant Governor Jones and said, yeah, but look at his mail pieces. He only sends his mail pieces to the man in the house. And so that means he's a sexist. And I disagree. I mean, everyone I have gotten in my house, and Lord knows I've gotten a lot, I would just say, I think that mail pieces are overrated. Okay. I don't think that people read them. And I think that a lot of people just throw them away. At least I do. And I'm in the business. Okay. So I've gotten a lot of mail pieces almost every day from Rick Jackson. I've gotten a couple from Burt Jones, and I've gotten a couple from Chris Carr. They're all made out to me. Now, maybe it's because of who I am. Maybe it's because my husband doesn't give money to political causes. I don't know what it is, but they're not made out to him. They're made out to me. And I think it more has to do with whether you are what they call a 4-for-4 voter in primaries. So I'm a 4-for-4 voter in primaries, which means if there is a primary, I am going to be there. With the exception of when I lived in the city, I missed one of the city runoffs back in the early 1990s. But since then, basically, if the polls are open, I am there voting. And so people buy those lists, and they get the people like me that are what's called 4-for-4 voters, and then they send everything to them because they want to motivate those people to get out and vote, not just to get out and vote because they know they will, but to vote for them. So I think it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. But I think Rick Jackson has definitely hit a nerve. People are still talking about him. I think that for Chris Carr and others, they've got to figure out a different way, not just the same old thing of saying negative things about Rick Jackson. I think they're going to have to find a different way of looking at things and making sure that they are getting the real answers to the questions that people want to hear about. That's what Rick has tapped into, as well as his incredible personal story having come from foster care. And really think about it. This was a kid that someone didn't come to his home and take him out and say, you have to go to foster care. He started to go to church with a family. He saw that his life was terrible with his mother's drinking problem and the abuse that he was getting at home. And he took himself out of his home as a young child and went and looked for foster care for a better life. That is an amazing story, and people are resonating with that. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk to an Iranian pastor and get some real information about what things are like in Iran. We'll be back.
This is Grant Nichols, and at Loretta's Country Kitchen, we know life can really pile up. There's work, getting the kids to practice, shopping. With all that, the week can really wear you out. The last thing you want to do is spend Saturday in the kitchen. Not to worry, we have you covered with Saturday lunch at Loretta's. That's right, not only are we open for breakfast on Saturdays, we're also serving up lunch from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. Give your kitchen and your family a break with Saturday lunch at Loretta's Country Kitchen, Mundy Mow Road, Oakwood, where it's all good.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel. Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 10 o'clock.
Iran loses more leaders. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, and more Israeli airstrikes overnight.
Targeting the Iranian capital of Tehran, taking out top official Ali Larijani. Larijani served as the secretary to Iran's Supreme National Security Council, and he was largely seen as the de facto leader in Iran following the opening strikes of Operation Epic Fury.
Fox's Trey Yingst also reports from Tel Aviv another strike killed a general leading Iran's Basij forces.
And this is significant. Basij is the branch of the IRGC responsible for cracking down on protesters earlier this year across Iran. And these separate strikes, I am told, were part of a joint Israeli and American intelligence effort to identify where these top leaders were and to take them out.
The U.S. Director of the National Counterterrorism Center, Joe Kent, resigned a short time ago. Posted on X this morning, he cannot support the ongoing war in Iran, adding Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation and that Israel pressured the U.S. to start the war. Airlines continue to recover from a blizzard in the Midwest and stormy weather on the East Coast, with the 900 flights canceled, almost 2,500 delayed, and some travelers keep waiting in long security lines as Homeland Security funding remains held up in Congress, so TSA agents are not being paid.
At Atlanta Airport, they're telling travelers to arrive 3 hours before departure to not miss their flight.
Fox Business Network's Madison Allworth in Newark, New Jersey, where lines aren't long today.
Some airports have it worse than others, depending on how many agents have called out. Nationally, the call-out rate on Sunday was 10.19%, compared to the normal 2% before the shutdown. And 366 TSA officers have just straight up quit, needing to find employment that pays.
A lot of Americans wearing green this morning, celebrating St. Patrick's Day.
So many of the greatest Americans were people who came from Ireland or their families came from Ireland.
That's Vice President Vance in Washington welcoming Ireland's Prime Minister to the U.S. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
WDUN. From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow. Gwinnett police have released the name of a victim from an apparent homicide in Snellville Friday. WDUN's Caleb Hutchins with more.
The Gwinnett County Police Department says officers responded to the 2900 block of Spruce Circle in unincorporated Snellville just after 10 p.m. to a report that a driver had crashed into their car and was unconscious. Upon arrival, the victim, now identified as 19-year-old Tavius Threat Jr. of Loganville, was found dead with a gunshot wound. Officials say the incident was isolated and the case remains under investigation.
A man was charged with public indecency following an incident in Gainesville Saturday evening. WDUN's Lawson Smith with this report.
The Gainesville Police Department says officers were called to a storefront on the 1700 block of Atlanta Highway to a report of a naked male in the area at around 11 p.m. Upon arrival, Timothy Eugene Kidd was reportedly found naked on the scene. He was arrested without incident. At this time, it is unknown why Kidd was naked.
A Beaufort man who was previously convicted for identity theft now is facing new charges, this time involving alleged sex trafficking. WDUN's Hamilton Keener with more.
34-year-old Kwame Jarrell Ford was on probation for a 2019 identity theft conviction when he allegedly began stealing NBA and NFL players' Apple account login credentials in 2020, according to the FBI. Authorities say Ford posed as an adult film star and was offering to send sexually explicit videos to the athletes. He also allegedly used that persona to coerce a female victim into having commercial sex with the athletes, with Ford getting a cut of the money paid by the players. Ford now faces multiple counts of identity theft and fraud, as well as a count of sex trafficking. He was denied bail by a U.S. magistrate judge.
And Fannin County emergency crews beat the freezing weather conditions Monday to rescue an injured hiker near Springer Mountain. As Fannin Emergency Management Agency's Facebook post Monday said that they were called to the shelter at Springer Mountain a day after an unidentified hiker was hurt while hiking the area through warmer weather Sunday. That hiker unable to return to safety due to his rough terrain until the Fannin EMA crews completed their search and snow accumulated with dropping temperatures Monday morning. Officials in Fannin County say this serves as a reminder that conditions in the North Georgia mountains can change rapidly at this time of year. More news at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN forecast.
Lots of sun, but it's not doing much to those numbers. Highs only in the mid-40s later this afternoon. As we get into the overnight hours, it's going to be really cold again. Scattered frost possible, upper 20s to near 30 degrees. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Baldwin, 31 degrees, East and Ollie, 30, and in Gainesville, 32. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Would you take advice on how to collect money from the folks that owe it to you? That's exactly what you do when you let an insurance company steer you to their contract shop. At Nichols Body Shop, we earn our customers one at a time. We depend on repeat customers and referrals to keep our shop busy. When you need a repair shop, please consider picking a shop that works for you. Nichols Body Shop in Flowery Branch, where the best sign of a quality repair is no sign at all. Find us on Facebook or call 770-967-8200.
It's bad enough you get wet when your roof leaks, so don't get soaked when it comes to getting it repaired. This is Chris Earls at Georgia Select Roofing, where we have outstanding Google reviews and an A+ BBB rating, because we know roofing and customer service. If it's a new roof, a roof repair, or gutters and downspouts, estimates are free and we offer financing. See us online at georgiaselectroofing.com or call me at 678-316-6899. At Georgia Select Roofing, we have you covered.
Talking about the issues that affect you most. It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. Now from the Northeast Georgia Health System Studio in downtown Gainesville, here's Martha Zoller on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN. Always here, always local.
But you say we knew about their capabilities, and certainly in the Strait. Are you surprised that we didn't do more or have a bigger plan for against that?
I would say that if you look at the campaign CENTCOM initiated, this was built into it from the beginning. And when you think about it in terms of the things that the chairman said and the things that Admiral Cooper said his mission was, one of the things in there was just to go after the Navy. And what they really meant was Iran's capability to control the Straits when this is over.
It is the Martha Zoller Show, and we're going to take a little different direction here than we've been talking. We've talked a lot about strategy, and we've talked a lot about what the implications are. I traveled to Israel in November, and we've been doing different interviews every week. And of course, we've talked about the Iran threat with different people throughout the years. I mean, this is nothing new. But a few weeks ago, my daughter, who works for Peachtree Presbyterian as a wedding planner and in hospitality, said, "Mom, we had this great pastor that came and spoke to us, and I really learned a lot." And so I thought it would be a great opportunity to hear a different perspective from someone. Sasan Tavassoli is a pastor, is Iranian originally, and is joining us right now. Welcome. How are you?
Martha, thank you. It's an honor to be invited to your show.
So tell folks a little bit about you first. How did you get here?
Yes, I was born in Iran, born and raised till I was 16 years old. I am a former Muslim, a former Shiite Muslim, and I left Iran in 1984 during the Iran-Iraq War as a 16-year-old teenager and ended up in Portugal, where through the ministry of some American missionaries who had started a church and a school, I became a Christian through the teaching of the church and the school. And then later, an American couple from Connecticut, they were traveling in Portugal. They met me, they, I guess, liked me and decided to sponsor me and bring me to America. So I've been living in the U.S. since 1985. I am an American citizen, married for over 35 years with 2 adult children, and have been living in Atlanta since 1995, have been attending Peachtree Presbyterian Church, the same church as your daughter. I've been there since 2007. I used to pastor an Iranian church in Marietta for 5 years, but I am basically a teacher, a Bible teacher, and a theologian at large in the Iranian world. I travel a lot and teach. I have been teaching on Iranian Christian satellite TV channels for over 20 years, teach at a lot of Iranian Christian conferences, church conferences, training pastors and leaders, and also have co-founded an Iranian seminary based in London. I just returned from London last night. And maybe some of your audience might not know that because of the oppression of the Islamic regime in the past 47 years since the 1979 revolution, because of all the violence and radicalism of the Islamic regime, which has been destroying our country, it has been oppressing and destroying the lives of our people. Many people, many Iranians have become very disillusioned with Islam, not just with the regime politically, but with the religion of Islam. And at least 1 million Iranian Muslims have become Christians in the past 2 decades. So there's a tremendous spiritual revival going on in the midst of a lot of disillusionment and brokenness. Many people are seeking peace, and they are finding the answer to their hurts in the gospel of Jesus Christ. So I am very connected with the Christian communities inside Iran and in the Iranian diaspora around the world.
So, so you converted from being Muslim to Christian. Did that have an impact on your family, or was your family not in the picture anymore because you've had to flee?
Yes, I mean, my family was back home in Iran. I was living by myself in Portugal. I had my own apartment and attended school and took care of myself. It took me a year and a half to tell my family about it. I was afraid about their reaction. I didn't want to hurt their feelings. They were Muslims. So when I arrived in America and actually started attending a Bible school in Michigan, I decided it's time for me to tell them about my decision. And their response was very, my parents were very progressive Muslims. My parents were both practicing what we call Sufi Islam, a kind of a mystical wing of Islam. So they were very progressive, very much at home with, modern values. So their initial response to me was fine, but I knew that they were very hurt and embarrassed and about my decision. But again, I believe that everybody needs to listen to their own conscience and their own decision in life.
No, I agree. And I think one of the greatest things about our country is the freedom of religion. And but I worry that sometimes our freedom is being used against us in certain corners. I don't want to be restrictive about religion, Sasan, but it concerns me that some of our freedoms are being used against us.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very concerning because you mentioned you've hit all the hot spots where there have been a lot of Islamic radicalization. You were in Michigan for a while, and you've just come back from London. So how do you deal with being a Muslim or a Christian? You're not a Muslim Christian, but you were a Muslim. Now you're a Christian. Because I'm sure you must come across people, if you're working in Michigan, if you're working in London, if you're working in places where there's a lot of radicalization going on, you've got to come up against people that think you're crazy at the best, but maybe would come after you at the worst.
Well, yeah, and so far I haven't had really any negative experiences. Again, Michigan was a long time ago. I was going to school, but I've been to a number of seminaries, and I got my PhD in Islamic Studies from the University of Birmingham in the UK. I've dealt with thousands of Muslims over, this past 40 years. But actually, I have taught about Islam on Christian satellite TV channels. And Martha, to this day, even yesterday, I received messages from former Muslims who have viewed my programs and have become Christians as a result of watching my programs. I have been producing thousands of programs on the Christian faith, on Christian life, on how to have a genuine relationship with God. I have also produced programs, an academic, respectful critique of Islam, the Quran, and so on and so forth. And from my perspective, God has used those programs significantly in the lives of thousands of people who've been watching my programs over the years. Again, I don't have scientific statistics. There's a significant, sizable population of Iranian Muslims who are leaving Islam because they are sick and tired of that radicalism. And not all are becoming Christians. Many are becoming atheists and agnostic. But many are also finding the answer to their searches in the Christian faith. But Martha, I also wanted to take advantage of the time you have given me today to let your American audience know that, yes, there are many conversations that are being had that people are having in America, and it's absolutely legitimate to have conversations about the war with Iran. And I don't want to get into those conversations. I want your audience to listen to the perspective of Iranians and not just look at this latest conflict in the Middle East as another American engagement in a long war in the Middle East. And I want the Americans to know, if I have one message to communicate today, is that vast segments of Iranian people inside Iran, around the world outside of Iran, and almost all of Iranian Christian community I can speak about, that they do not see this war as a war against the people of Iran. They see this war as a war to free Iranians from the oppression and tyranny of the Islamic regime. We are deeply grateful to America. We are deeply grateful for the soldiers that have already given their lives. We commend the courage of the American administration, their clarity, their moral stance against this evil regime, and also Israel. And I just heard in the Fox News thing you were airing before you brought me on, somebody had resigned. I didn't catch the name. Somebody had resigned because of this war, that there was no imminent threat against the U.S. or Israel. I disagree. We should not wait till an hour before Iran develops a nuclear warhead before we feel that's imminent. The threats from Iran, the deaths caused by Iran, has been very serious against America, against Israel. And, in Iran, there has been a countdown clock for years, counting down to the day Israel is destroyed. So Israel has every right to defend itself, and America is dealing with a terrorist regime that if it's not being dealt with right now, it continues to take the world hostage. Even with the weapons the Iranians have right now, they are taking the Strait of Hormuz and the world economy hostage. They are hitting all their Arab neighbors. Imagine if they let them develop more powerful weapons and what they would do to the rest of the world. So I can speak on behalf of hundreds of Iranian pastors and Christian leaders that I personally know that are commending America and the U.S. administration for the courageous, sacrificial stance that they've taken against the Iranian regime.
We're talking to Sasan Tavassoli, who is an Iranian pastor. He was raised a Muslim. He became a Christian, and he has spent most of his adult life spreading the gospel, spreading the good word to really underserved communities. Because to me, as a Christian woman, I am more than willing to put my faith up against other people's faith. That's one of the things I'm taught by not only the freedom I have in this country, but the love of Jesus Christ. And I know that the message will resonate. It's what John Ashcroft, who was the Attorney General at the time of 9/11, said, the difference between Christianity and Islam is that Christianity waits for you to come to it. Even if it's on the last day of your life, it waits for you to come to it. They don't go door to door and try to make you to come to Christianity.
Yeah, Martha, you have no idea. I and hundreds of Iranian pastors and colleagues, evangelists, Bible teachers, there are. I want you. Let me say this to you and American audience. The Iranian, all the Protestant, evangelical, Bible teaching churches, and we only had a handful of them anyway. All of those church buildings in Iran have been shut down. There used to be American missionaries in Iran till 1980, and the Presbyterian missionaries went to Iran in the 1830s and did phenomenal work. Humanitarian work, brought modern education for girls, established hospitals. All those missionaries were kicked out in 1980. The Americans were accused of being CIA agents. But anyway, so the handful of churches we had are closed. The government has been confiscating Christian properties. But, Martha, there are thousands of house churches in Iran, families that gather in their homes to worship God according to the Christian faith and principles. Now, those house churches are illegal. Hundreds of Christians have been arrested, tortured, persecuted. Some Christian pastors have been assassinated and martyred. Thousands have had to leave the country. So that's been the situation of the church in Iran. Despite all the persecution, tyranny, and oppression, the church has been growing. But truly, the Islamic regime has become darker and more evil and more violent. And the massacre that took place in January didn't get a lot of coverage in American media. Recently, President Trump has been mentioning the number of 32,000 people who were killed. Martha, in 2 nights, the Iranian government killed 32,000 of its own people. Just imagine what they would do if this regime continued to survive, the massacre that they would do inside Iran and around the world. So this is the right stance. But so anyway, so this is the situation of the church, that the church is growing. House churches are growing. We are hearing fantastic testimonies. Martha, I shared a story I just heard in England, and I shared it with Peachtree. This is a very touching story. A lady called into an Iranian Christian satellite TV station in London from Iran. She said, a friend of mine was sharing the gospel with me for a long time. And this is an Iranian Muslim lady saying this. She said, I never understood, what does it mean that Jesus died for me? How do I make sense of that? It doesn't, I can't figure it out, the significance of that. And this lady participated in one of those nights of demonstrations for freedom against the Iranian regime when the massacre took place. A young man covered this lady, got hit by a bullet, and died in this lady's arms. And when he died, she said, for the first time I understood how somebody could give their life for me, to save me. And as a result, she became a Christian. The gospel made sense to her when a person was killed in her own arms defending her. So this regime has become truly evil. It's no longer open to reform. Abbas Milani, a famous Iranian professor out of Stanford University, I just watched one of his conversations a couple of nights ago. He said that, according to his, Iranians are against the regime, 88%. So the 10-12% that are pro-regime have basically taken the rest as hostage.
Absolutely.
And this regime is not open to reform, it's not open to voting, it's not listening to anybody's voice. So we need to deal with this regime, and we are grateful to America.
Sasan Tavassoli, if people want to follow your work, how can they do that?
Martha, unfortunately, all my work is in Persian, Farsi language.
That's okay.
I have a YouTube channel, Sasan Tavassoli. I am on Instagram, Dr. Sasan Tavassoli, but almost everything. There are a few sermons of mine in English, but the rest of my work is all in Farsi.
Well, that's okay because we can use Google Translate. Anyway, thank you thank you so much for being with us today, and God bless.
God bless you. Thank you for the invitation. Bye-bye, Martha.
Thank you. We'll take a break.
It's your daily civics lesson.
If it's mentioned in the Constitution, the feds have final say over it, and immigration is one of those things mentioned in the Constitution.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, weekdays at 9 on North Georgia's News Talk, WDUN.
Great drinks, great company, and every sip makes a difference. Join the Boys and Girls Clubs of Lanier for the 3rd annual club crawl on Saturday, March 28th from 12 to 4 at Cumming City Center. We're kicking things off at Crooked Culture Brewing, then heading to participating spots including Tin Cup Grill, The Well, and Los Rios Cantina. Tickets are $50 and include drinks at every participating stop, plus your own Boys and Girls Clubs of Lanier pint glass to take home. Your ticket makes a real difference for kids right here in your community. Grab your friends and get your tickets now at boysgirlsclubs.com. Let's do something good together. Club Crawl, March 28th.
Hey folks, Todd Starnes here. When it comes to keeping pests out of your home, Mark Turner at Select Pest Control has it figured out. As the name implies, you get to select whether you want their professional team to take care of those pesky pests, or if you'd rather do it yourself, visit their retail store on Brownsbridge Road in Gainesville. Since 1993, Mark and his great staff have offered professional service, products, and advice to North Georgia. Visit them online at selectpest.net, or better yet, stop by Select Pest Control today and tell them Todd sent you.
Are you frustrated with your contacts? Have your glasses become more of a burden? Well, don't suffer. Hi, this is Kim. Here at Advanced Eye Center, we offer all laser LASIK to free your eyes. When you consider not only the amount of money you pay for all of that eye gear, but also the amount of time you spend handling contacts, glasses, cases, solution, and eye drops, how can you not afford to have LASIK? Invest in you. Save your money. Save your time at Advanced Eye Center. Vision correction for all ages.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
America, look around. Everywhere you go, prices are still high, rates have been whipsawing markets, and the debt and spending don't exactly scream stability. Experts say diversifying with intention is the #1 secret account that all American smart money uses to hedge against instability. Monetary Gold has been around since 2000, witnessing multiple economic setbacks. If you call now, Monetary Gold will cover up to a lifetime of your IRA fees on qualified accounts. Call Monetary Gold now at 877-NOW-GOLD. That's 877-NOW-GOLD. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, officials in Clarksville are taking applications from candidates for their city manager's position. Details at Access WDUN. And coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
My baby girl does, travel ball on a national level, whatever you want to do with that. I was told the coach, he was like, hey, we got to be there. He's like, you got to be there at the tournament at 10 o'clock. It was a Sunday. I was like, Coach, we'll be at church and then we'll come. And he was like, well, what do you mean? I was like, I don't care if you bench her. I don't care. Like, we're going to church as a family. Like, church is more important. I tell my kids all the time that God is more important than sport. And so I have to show them. Like, I can't now go to basketball every weekend or go to football every weekend or go to softball, whatever that looks like every weekend. And so the world is going to tell you you've got to go, do, busy, work. Like, and I think you can set the things that are important for your family, and you don't have to compromise.
That's David Pollack speaking about how he, doesn't buy into all this weekend sports stuff. And, as I've just put in the calendar for my grandson's baseball games and practices, I mean, it's crazy. It's like you would think they're like professional athletes.
Yeah, and, I played a little bit of travel baseball for about maybe a year or two, and, it was busy for us as children, but I could only imagine what it was like for, my parents and the rest of the other parents that had to go. We weren't, going state to state, but we were going all across Georgia, most of the weekends throughout the spring and summer, just playing baseball.
Absolutely. It's crazy. It's very crazy. Anyway, I got this text message in. It said, Martha, I'm very much a woman, and she knows that she is. And all of Rick Jackson's mail is addressed to me, only me, and yes, I always read them, and yes, I'm very impressed with him, Patty in Cleveland. We got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about. And we've got a lot of decisions to make about candidates over the next few months. And what I want to see is a great turnout that reflects the people of Georgia. And across this country, I don't want people to not stay home because they're mad. I don't want people to stay home for any reason, because the law does not get in your way for voting. Regardless of what some people want to tell you, you can vote. You can get out to vote, and this midterm matters. And even though it is theirs to lose, because generally if you're out of power, you're going to pick up seats, we can make the case and take the message and make sure we win in November. And we have to. We'll be back.
For the Norton Agency, selling real estate is personal. Our family name and reputation stand behind every sign, every business card, every associate, and every sale. With the ever-changing real estate practice, we hold strong ideals and professionally train and support our real estate advocates through every segment of the complicated process. I'm Frank Norton, and you can count on it. Norton, now more than ever. Call us at 770-532-0022 or look for us on the web at gonorton.com. Our family serving North Georgia for 4 generations.
It all comes down to this, folks. Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
2 words: prostate exam. Did your butt just clench?
Relax. Screening starts with a simple, finger-free blood test. Around 1 in 8 men in the United States will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. But don't clinch. Prostate cancer can have over a 99% 5-year relative survival rate when caught at a localized or regional stage. If you're 40 or older and have a prostate, visit RelaxIt'sABloodTest.com to see if a PSA blood test is right for you. Talk to your doctor about screening and next steps. Sponsored by Novartis.
Denny Hamlin wins in Las Vegas, scoring the victory in the Pennzoil 400.
This is a whole team effort. I know that the record books will say my name, but I'm really, really proud to be part of this team.
Now it's time to dance with the Lady in Black. It's the Goodyear 400 from Darlington. Sunday at 2 on North Georgia's home of NASCAR. WDUN Gainesville, WDUN FM Clarksville, Gainesville. Always here, always local.
It's 10:30.
Fox News, I'm CJ Papa. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz confirms airstrikes kill top Iranian security official Ali Larijani and the head of the Revolutionary Guard, Ghulam Reza Soleimani.
U.S. President Trump spoke about the high rate of turnover within Iran's leadership. When morning breaks in Washington, we will update him that the high rate of turnover is continuing and even accelerating following the elimination of 2 of the most senior remaining figures.
Katz through an interpreter. President Trump trying to reopen the Strait of Hormuz for the oil tankers.
The longer the strait remains closed or choked off, the higher the price of oil climbs. The president insists this is only a short-term problem and that this war will not drag on, but Democrats say they see no off-ramp.
Fox's Mark Meredith. Top counterterrorism official Joe Kent resigns over the conflict, claiming Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation. America's listening to Fox News.
Always here, always local.
WDUN. From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet Newsroom, I'm Steve Winslow. Firefighters responded to a house blaze Sunday morning, which destroyed a home and led to 2 people being injured in a separate accident at the scene. WDUN's Caleb Hutchins explains.
Units from Banks County Fire and Emergency Services were dispatched at around 8 a.m. on Sunday to a reported structure fire at a residence on Otis Brown Road in Baldwin. When crews arrived, they found a single-family home with heavy fire. During the incident, firefighters also discovered 2 people who had been struck by a vehicle in the driveway. Officials said the victims, an adult female and an 8-year-old girl, were attempting to move vehicles away from the home when a family member accidentally hit them. Both victims were taken to Northeast Georgia Medical Center in stable condition.
City of Clarksville officials are now searching for their next city manager following the recent retirement of Keith Dickerson. WDUN's Logan Landers with details.
Clarksville City Clerk and Interim Manager Julie Poole noting that candidates for city manager need 5 years of prior experience in city management and a bachelor's degree with a master's degree in public administration, highly desired. The position is responsible for Clarksville's daily operations with direct oversight to all departments. A link to email applications and more details on requirements can be found at Access WDUN.
And Fannin County Emergency Agency crews beat the freezing weather conditions Monday to rescue an injured hiker near Springer Mountain. Full details online with more news at Access WDUN. Now here's your Access WDUN chilly weather forecast.
Lots of sun, highs only in the mid-40s later this afternoon. Into the overnight hours, it's going to be really cold again. Scattered frost possible, upper 20s. From the Access WDUN Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Holly Strano.
In Helen, 30 degrees, Tequila, 34, and in Gainesville, 32. From North Georgia's News Talk, AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Great Chevy vehicles and excellent customer service. Those were the cornerstones that Charles and Jeanette Hardy built Hardy Chevrolet on in 1982, and that hasn't changed. This is Mike Cormier inviting you to Hardy Chevrolet. Come see how enjoyable car shopping can be. From our sales team to our service department, we're all about customer service. Like Charles Hardy always said,
we love you and we need you.
Together, let's drive. At Hardy Chevrolet, Browns Bridge Road in Gainesville, online at hardychevrolet.com.
Hey there, it's Cody Lovin, owner of Crawl Space Medic. Is your crawl space giving you trouble? Maybe it's moisture, structural issues, or even foul odors? Don't worry, my team and I, we've seen it all. At Crawl Space Medic, we specialize in crawl space repairs, encapsulations, and basement waterproofing, ensuring your home's foundation stays solid and protected. We're all about delivering top-notch service you can trust with solutions that last. Give me a call at 706-410-2400 or visit crawlspacemedic.com for a free evaluation.
It's the Martha Zoller Show, presented by Gainesville Mechanical. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
It is the Martha Zoller Show, and it is so great to be talking to my friend Michael Levine, and a lot has happened in the last few days. How are you, Michael?
I am well. How are you?
I'm doing really well, thank you. I appreciate it very much. There were a few bright spots in the Oscars the other night, and, you know, I don't watch it anymore, as most people don't watch it. I mean, I used to have Oscar parties and have all my friends over, and we'd watch the Oscars. We loved it. But I was encouraged that the woman who won Best Actress talked about her great marriage and that she loved having children and motherhood was fantastic. The Best Actor winner talked about his faith, and Nicole Kidman was interviewed coming in saying, yeah, she goes to church before she comes to this because that's what she does on Sunday. It was encouraging to me.
Well, friend, you are an optimist. We have
I am.
acknowledged that. You know, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Now, let us look at some mathematical numbers, shall we? In 1998, 55 million Americans watched the Oscars. 1998. 2026, 19 million. So, if you owned a business and 70% of your audience had left, 70% of your audience had left, would that be a good thing, a bad thing, or a neutral thing?
Well, I tell you, I'm probably not any different than most people. Where I'm probably not any different than most people is that I really haven't come back from, you know, the COVID not going to movies. I mean, I will go. I've been to 1 or 2 or 3 movies in the last 6 years. I watch them on TV. I wait for them to, come out on streaming. But I don't do the theater experience anymore, and I'm sure that's a problem for a lot of people.
Well, it is, but the question is, why is that true? Is it true because if they remade The Godfather today, The Godfather would be a transgender?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look,
that's exactly what it is. The good stories. I mean, they ruined Snow White.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Look, when you say to half of your audience, we hate you, we think you are scum, that is likely not a good marketing or branding strategy. And so 70% of the audience is left. I don't know anyone that watched the Academy Awards. I've attended the Academy Awards 10 times. This is it was like a pep rally for the Democratic Party.
You know, I looked for was I wanted to see the Barbra Streisand tribute to Robert Redford. Yep. I did want to see that.
Right.
Because, first of all, Barbra Streisand doesn't make that many appearances in public, and she doesn't usually sing. Now, she didn't sing very well, but that's okay. She's 82 years old or whatever it is. She's not going to sing the way she did when she was 20. That's just not possible. But I thought the tribute was good and lacked the kind of political poking that I thought she might do. But if you look at Robert Redford, who I'm sure you knew,
I did.
He was an activist, but he was a quiet activist. You know, he did it through his actions. You knew where he was on issues because of what he did, not necessarily him pushing it in your face. Is that fair?
Right.
Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, I think Robert Redford was a dignified activist in many ways, and but look, I feel as I've expressed, what Hollywood is doing is suicidal for them.
Yes.
It's suicidal, and yet instead of them pausing and saying, wait, we've lost 70% of our audience. Let's give this some consideration here. They double down, they triple down, they quadruple down. And F-ICE buttons are not the way to bring audiences or America back.
And
it's
really, a $350,000 gift bag? Seriously? And they're going to talk about affordability as a problem in America? I mean, really?
Well, there is that. But
I know. It's so crazy. But anyway, I did love the one video I really liked, and it was from one of the after parties. And there was Jeff Bezos and his wife trying to get all the attention. And Nicole Kidman just kind of walked behind them. And then all of the cameras went to her because clearly she was the bigger star. She was the bigger star.
Well, it's a fascinating social experiment, but I don't think the Democratic Party is benefiting from this. I don't think Hollywood is benefiting from it. It is a suicide pact that is not only not working, it is having exactly the opposite effect. And the 4-hour length, by the way.
It's too long. It's too long.
With the greatest respect, there is nothing worth 4 hours that I can think of.
Look, you came out west at a time when you were a fairly young man, right? Very young man.
I was, yep.
Hollywood was in a beautiful place. I think Ron Brown wrote a great book about how Hollywood was back about the time that you came out there.
It was paradise.
Yes, it was paradise. And you have probably met every famous person of the last several generations that you've wanted to.
I would say a great many.
If you've written a book about this, I'm sorry, but are you going to ever tell those stories, or have you done that already?
No, I'm not going to.
No.
I have a loyalty to my clients that have been many plentiful. So, no, that is not something I.
Well, and I don't mean like the things you helped them with, like the secrets. I mean, I think it would be great to know what you thought about people like Robert Redford, and I know you represented Michael Jackson, and you've had all kinds of people that are from the glorious golden days of Hollywood, and I think it would be so interesting to see what their personalities were like. But that may be too much.
Yeah, I think that's a bridge too far. But
yeah, I'm probably going to have to come out to L.A. and get you to tell me those stories one-on-one.
Anytime. Yes, anytime.
So before I let you go, have you met? Did you get into? You had Michael Jackson. Were you ever involved with the Beatles or anything like that?
No. I've met one or two. I met Ringo. I've met Paul, but no, never met George. Never met John.
Yeah, Ringo had a restaurant in Atlanta for a period of time. So for a while, every now and then you would see him in downtown Atlanta, and it created, a big stir. And I when Robert Redford passed away, I had a little party at my house where my girlfriends and I got together, and we watched Barefoot in the Park, The Way We Were, and All the President's Men. So we had a Robert Redford night because I loved him.
We just don't have stars like that today.
No.
I don't know. If you asked me, do I know any of the winners? I don't know who they are.
Right.
They could walk through my living room and I wouldn't know them from the parking valet. I don't know who they are.
So
I'm sure they're nice people, but I don't know who they are.
2 more random questions because I just love it when we can just talk. It's great. So I did actually get to see Hamnet by accident because it got promoted on my streaming service that they had it, and so I clicked on it and watched it.
How did you like it?
I liked it. I did like it.
Okay.
I thought it was a very good movie. It kind of reminded me of a darker version of Shakespeare in Love, but but it was a good movie, and I thought it was great performances. And it was I might have gone to the theater if I had known it was good, but I just don't go to the theater anymore. Second thing I wanted to ask.
Well, the theater, by the way, the theater experience is not a good one. You go to a movie theater, you pay a high price. You go inside, you watch 35 minutes of commercials and
previews,
coming attractions, right? But the commercials used to be Coca-Cola or popcorn. Now they're insurance. I mean, 30 minutes of commercials and coming attractions. That's a lot of. It's not a good experience.
Yeah, and for a girl that I do like to see the coming attractions, but there's too many of them now. I mean, I enjoy seeing.
I like to see 2.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, not 9.
I know. And some of them are totally inappropriate for, I have taken my grandchildren to a movie, and then the previews are totally inappropriate for the movie we're going to see, which is not good. You said a few months ago that Steve Hilton had no chance in the California governor's primary. Do you still think that?
I think he has a low chance, but a chance.
Okay.
And the reason I believe that is there are too many Democrats running, and that is very good news for the Republicans. Also, the state is a disaster. If you can't figure that out, you would fail an IQ test at a kindergarten. The state is an unsustainable disaster with great weather. A great location and great weather. But other than that, it is unsustainable. It is a disaster. And at some point, voters are going to recognize we can't keep doing this. And it is a disaster because one party has ruled the state for, I think, 15 years, if I'm not mistaken. They have also followed a course of suicide. They have done every possible thing imaginable to ruin the sustainability and sanity of this state.
I think you're absolutely right. I'm a more hopeful person. I'm more hopeful than you are on a lot of things. I do think this stuff runs in cycles, and but the interesting thing is that what's happening is the people that are sane, except for you, I think you're very sane, but the people that are sane are leaving California.
Yes.
And so,
yes. Yes.
They're going to other states.
Yeah, and I cannot promise you in the long term that I won't leave. Now, I have a business here, and leaving would be very difficult. But it's unsustainable.
Right.
It's just not sustainable.
And it has to have more than just the weather's good, And
well, that has been its ticket. But you see who's leaving. Mark Zuckerberg. Now, if you're the owner of Facebook, you live in Northern California. You can live anywhere in the world you want. You've got endless amounts of money. You make a decision. I'm leaving California. Where are you moving to, Mr. Zuckerberg? Florida. Florida. That's not. There's a pattern here. Our friend Howard Schultz, living in Seattle all his life, started Starbucks there. Mr. Schultz, are you leaving? Yes, I am. Where are you moving to, sir? Florida. Are you starting to see a pattern here?
Yes.
The founders of Google. Where are you leaving? Where are you moving to, sir? Florida. Are you starting to see a pattern? Come on.
Yeah, and it's really hot and humid in the summer in Florida.
It may be, but they got air conditioning,
They
darling.
got air conditioning, that's right. That's like Mayor Young, Andrew Young, former ambassador and first black mayor of Atlanta, said desegregation and air conditioning made the South rise again.
Oh, there you go. There
All
you
right,
go.
thank you.
And by the way,
yes.
One last note. In the 40s and 50s were considered the glory days of Hollywood. A lot of people went to the movies for the air conditioning.
You're right. You're right about that. The Fox Theater in Atlanta had air conditioning since 1929. It was one of the first buildings to have air conditioning, and people went there.
It's hard to understand that today.
Yes.
But a lot of our parents went to the movie theaters in those days for the air conditioning.
For the air conditioning. You're absolutely right. Michael Levine, thank you so much for
All
being with
God
me
bless.
today.
Bye.
We'll take a break.
all the updates on the way home.
Afternoons move faster with the essential updates you need.
Your show is just so informative.
It's The Drive at 5, weekdays on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
You don't need the luck of the Irish or follow the rainbow to find a pot of gold.
Just get to Krause Family Hyundai of Gainesville, where you'll get 115% of book value for your trade. And during our Saving of the Green sales event, discover as low as 0% APR financing on popular models like the 2026 Santa Fe. Plus, you get America's best warranty, a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty, and Hyundai Assurance. Don't just wear green. Come save green at Krause Family Hyundai on Atlanta Highway, off I-985 in Gainesville, or visit KrauseFamilyHyundai.com for full details.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
America, look around. Everywhere you go, prices are still high, rates have been whipsawing markets, and the debt and spending don't exactly scream stability. Experts say diversifying with intention is the #1 secret account that all American smart money uses to hedge against instability. Monetary Gold has been around since 2000, witnessing multiple economic setbacks. If you call now, Monetary Gold will cover up to a lifetime of your IRA fees on qualified accounts. Call Monetary Gold now at 877-NOW-GOLD. That's 877-NOW-GOLD. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
They lied. They cheated. And they broke the law. Liberal losers forced illegal migration on hardworking Americans. But conservative businessman Rick Jackson is ready to fight back.
I don't care if you're Muslim or Mongolian. You don't have the right to force your culture on our country.
Corrupt career politicians let the invasion happen, then made it worse. But conservative businessman Rick Jackson isn't gonna let them get away with it.
Too often, criminal illegals commit sick, violent crimes, victimize our children, and get away with murder. So here's my guarantee to them. Do that when I'm governor, and you'll end up deported or departed. Any questions?
It's time to win big for Georgia. Rick Jackson, the Trump-supporting, straight-talking, successful businessman with nothing to lose. Rick Jackson for governor.
Paid for by Jackson for Governor Inc.
Always here, always local.
From the Access WDUN Hardy Chevrolet newsroom, 2 people in Baldwin are hurt from an outdoor incident while a fire destroys their home Sunday morning. Details at Access WDUN and coming up on North Georgia's News Talk.
Use the Access WDUN Talk and Text line, presented by M&R Rental at 770-535-2911, and be part of the conversation. From the Northeast Georgia Health System studio in downtown Gainesville, it's the Martha Zoller Show on AM 550 and FM 102.9 WDUN.
Honey, are you there? Jack, pick up, sweetie. Okay, well, I just wanted to tell you I love you. We're having a little problem on the plane. I'm totally fine. I just love you more than anything. Just know that. And, I'm comfortable and I'm okay for now. It's a little problem, so I just love you. Please tell my family I love them too.
It is the Martha Zoller Show. And, I've been playing these a few times recently because we're coming up on the 25th anniversary of the attack on America. And the radical Islamists do love anniversaries like that. I mean, they love to do things on particular days, on holidays, or whatever it is. And I'm not saying anything's going to happen, but what I'm going to say is I don't want to forget the way we felt on that day or the day after and the unity that we felt. And I don't want it to be something like that that brings us back to this unity. We are all Americans, okay? And I think that of those of us that I think have come here and taken advantage of our good nature, we got to figure out a way to balance that out. And you're seeing this uprising all over the country, all over the world. You're seeing it in Australia. You're seeing it in Canada. You're seeing it in the United States and in the UK and throughout Europe. You are seeing places that were compromising their values for the immigrants that were coming in instead of spreading their values so the immigrants that came in could assimilate. There's this real change that's happened with a lot of immigrant communities, is that I shouldn't say a lot, some immigrant communities, that they don't want to assimilate, but they still are coming to a different country. And you've got to ask yourself why. If you didn't want to change the way you lived, why did you change the way you lived? And so we need to look at all of those things and be aware of it. And so from time to time, I'm going to play some of these messages that people left. You know, I love the movie Love Actually. And there's the beginning of the movie says, you know, when the Twin Towers were hit, people didn't call up and leave messages of hate. They called and left messages like this one, where she said, I just want to tell you, and you can hear her, she's trying to sound so calm because she really is terrified, I'm sure, because she said, I'm fine for now, because she knew something bad was happening. I don't think anybody could have imagined how bad it was, because at that day, at that moment, generally if your plane was hijacked, you got sent to a different place and that you just had to get back from a different place. There was no flying them into buildings. And that's what changed on September 11th, 2001. I had some people call me and text me and ask me about giving to the Rick Jackson campaign. And there is actually a donate button way on the bottom of the thing. But he's not doing traditional fundraising. He's not, he's basically going to pay the bill himself. And obviously there are going to be people that are, because we've been trained to log in and give money to the candidates that you like. So I'm sure there's going to be people that are going to give money. But when his first disclosure comes out, which will be, I believe, the second week in April, I think you're going to be surprised at the money he put in himself, but also that a lot of the donations are small donations. Because the big people aren't going to give to somebody that, you know, one of the biggest problems about being a wealthy person that can self-fund is that once you put in a big check of your own, then a lot of people think you don't need the money and they don't give money. But small donors are always going to keep giving, and that small donor, 5, 10, 25, 50, that small donor, they have, you know, big issues, and they expect a lot from you. They expect you to keep your promises. And I'm just going to say this to all the elected officials and all the candidates. Just do what you promised to do when you ran. Stop playing the games. And you know what? If you get into office, keep your message focused on what you promised to the people when you were campaigning. Don't get off track, because we got a lot of work to do. Even after the Trump administration, we've got a lot of work to do to get this country back on track. But I believe we can do it if we work together. We'll be back on the Martha Zoller Show. I'll be back tomorrow. I am